to execute the contract for South Pond alum treatment. Consideration and possible action on previously approved one-day liquor license application for Greater Good Imperial and Brimfield Winery for the Town Common Bonfire, date of May 7th. Consideration and possible action to open the annual town meeting warrant articles. Consideration and possible action to close the annual town meeting warrant articles. And consideration and possible action on special town meeting warrant articles. Old business, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes, citizens forum, and then we will adjourn. So why don't we start with, okay, perfect. And also under the town administrator's update, we will get a DOT agreement for Amazon-related stoplight projects. So why don't we start with the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next, could we have a moment of silence for all the senseless violence going on in the world? Thank you. Jamie, do you have any public service announcements?
I do not, thank you.
The only one I have is this is my first meeting since Mary Lou's been elected, and I wanted to congratulate you and wish you luck.
Thank you very much.
And do you have anything, Mary Lou?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Great. And reorganization of the board, I would like to make a recommendation to wait till a full board, if okay with my colleagues. here tonight.
Makes sense to me.
Cool. Department reports, water and sewer.
Good evening. So I'll start with the, you have the operation reports for both February and March. One of the things I want to point out on the February report, you'll see we had a large amount of E1 calls. That's because we had 20 pumps freeze in one weekend. That's when we had that really, really bitter cold, and they were freezing left and right. So that was the reason for the amount of them, but my guys had come up with some heaters and stuff, so we unthawed them pretty quick, and we didn't lose any pumps either, so, but this is the first time, and since I've been here, you know, we have one freeze here and there, but to have 20 like that, that just goes to show how cold it was, so that's the reason for that call, all those calls. And if anyone has any questions on the operations report, I'd be happy to answer for them.
Is there anything a homeowner can do to stop a freeze like that, or is it just?
So yeah, you know, we try to put out a public notice, you know, if you run the water, right? But some people aren't home, and it was just that cold. I mean, we lost a pump station in the middle of the night, and by the time we got the backup generator there, it froze solid. So it was just, I haven't seen it that cold ever. So let's just hope it doesn't happen again. We made it through. We didn't have any overflows, and just keep moving forward.
Good, nice. Do we have any questions on the operating report?
No?
Okay, so we're in water ban season, right? So that starts today, and right now there's water everywhere. We're not going to be in one anytime soon, but the water ban's going to work a little bit different this year. So when the stream limit goes down to a certain amount, we're still going to have to enter a water ban. But when the state declares drought statuses and it gets to a certain point, there'll be no watering in town whatsoever. And that's something that I'll track. They also email me every time they update the status. Hopefully we don't get for that, but if it gets to the point where you see there's no outside watering, that's because we're in the level of a drought where the state says you can't water your lawns. So besides that, it'll be the same, but if we get to that point, we'll put the sign up at Route 20 and 131, but I just wanted to make you aware of why that might happen where it hasn't happened in the past, okay?
How are the levels right now? I know it was really dry.
I looked today, and there's water everywhere right now.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I mean, I think I looked at the Westville Dam. It's like 6,000 cubic feet per second. We have to go under 89 to go into a water ban. So, but you know, just keep in mind, you'd be surprised at how fast things can dry up. You know, you get a couple weeks of good hot weather and things will dry right out and then those levels will drop right down. So,
Like last August, right?
exactly. So that's something that we keep an eye on, but I just wanted you to understand why, if we could actually go into no watering, why we're on that, okay? And there was a lot of towns that got together and fought it because they don't think the state has the right to tell you what to take out of the ground. I don't know where that lawsuit went. We didn't participate in it because frankly, I thought it was a waste of money, right? The state's gonna make the rules and we're gonna have to follow them. That's just the way it's gonna be, okay? The water main job is going extremely well. Heather and I were just talking. It looks like they're already down to the cemetery. I would expect the pipe to be in within the next day or two. They'll probably pressure test and bacteria test later this week and probably start hooking up services next week and probably have everybody on the new main, I would think, depending on the weather too, right? That's gonna play into it. And then the only thing that'll be left to do after that is just to hook people services in and then pave. So I would say by the end of the month, be done, paved and out of here. And then we won't have any more breaks up there. They pulled out in one day 9 repairs that we had made.
Wow.
So that pipe definitely didn't need to be replaced. So that's going really well. We've done flushing on the east side of town. We've also checked to make sure all the hydrants are working on the east side. Now we just gotta do the west side, which we'll start doing that again on Wednesday. The other thing you should be aware of, I think I told you before, we weren't happy with the paving job on 131. The state is making good on that and coming back, and they're gonna fix all the manholes in the boxes that are off, so you'll see that going on. I think they might have even started today. Heather probably has a better idea on that than I do. And basically, besides that, business as usual. That's all I have for you this evening.
Great, great. Does anybody have any questions for Shane?
No, nothing.
Okay. I have nothing. Do you want to do the septage now?
That's fine.
So you can sneak
Yeah,
out?
if you're okay with that.
Yeah, how's the board feel with that? No problem?
I'm fine.
Works for me.
Great.
So basically, you're charging 7 cents a gallon right now from septic haulers. The whole goal when taking in septic is to cover the cost of hauling the sludge to the plant in Cranston. So at 7 cents, we were $22,000, almost $23,000 short. So, and then, do you have the spreadsheet that we gave you with the breakdown?
Should have been in your package.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
So basically what we did, we broke it down at 8 cents, 8.5 cents, and 9 cents. Our recommendation is gonna be to go to 9 cents. North Brookfield and Spencer have already gone to 9 cents. And it's just like everything else, with the cost of fuel, the tolls, everything's going up, and so is this. So, we don't wanna be, we don't wanna be losing money. We wanna be, the whole purpose of taking that septic in is to cover this cost. So both Heather and I recommend that you raise it from 7 to 9 cents for both in-town and out-of-town septic.
If for anybody listening, it doesn't impact residents, just to be clear to people listening. This is
Will
not
that
a
cover
charge
it?
on the residents.
So if you look at the spreadsheet, based upon last year's numbers, it would not only would it cover it, it would also return about $26,000 back to the sewer fund, which is the whole purpose,
And we'll stay competitive with the other towns that are
I
taking.
believe so. The only thing is now we're all charging the same, so they're not gonna come out of their way to bring us extra septage, but, we gotta cover our costs.
Yeah.
So that's a chance we gotta take.
Okay. Cool. How does the board feel?
Makes sense to me.
I'm in agreement with it. Do we need a motion?
Yes, yeah.
I make a motion to increase the septage receiving rate at the wastewater treatment plant to 9 cents a gallon, starting June 1st, 2023.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Great, thank you.
Okay.
To the next one. too,
Next
Chris.
up, we'll do the landfill. Perfect. You want to explain this one a little bit, too?
So, in having conversations with both Robin and Heather, so the leachate comes from the landfill, and there's never been a disposal fee on it. If you were to take that leachate to some other town, you'd probably be paying like almost 10 cents a gallon from the calls that I can make. And now you got PFOS coming, right? And if there's gonna be PFOS in that leachate, that's gonna take on a whole nother game. So what we're recommending is that there just be a disposal fee of 3 cents a gallon. The Board of Health's been made aware of it, and that's just, we are treating it, and we should be getting some kind of money. The sewer department should be getting some kind of money for that.
We pointed that out, I think, as one of the budgetary items. You saw an increase in the landfill line item under leachate. That's to cover this cost. that's a townwide cost, and it was being burdened by sewer users, basically,
Okay.
prior. And so we really felt that it should be a fee that's charged, just like the town pays its sewer bill for town buildings, or the schools do, that this is the same concept, in theory.
That makes sense to me. How does the board feel about it?
I'm in agreement.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with the recommendation. So if there's no discussion, if we have a motion,
Okay, I make a motion to set the rate for the landfill reject at 3.03 cents a gallon, starting July 1st, 2023, and only the leachate from Sturbridge landfill will be accepted.
Second?
we have a motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks, you too.
Heather, how goes the battle?
It's going pretty good.
Good, that's a good thing.
It's a sunny night. It's not
Yeah.
raining.
Right.
It's always a good thing.
I don't know, I
First
think-
of all, I know you have my monthly reports, my summary monthly reports for what the staff has done for both April and March, and I apologize that I didn't get one of my own reports that I've been doing normally before, summarizing a little bit more where our projects are. First, just a little bit summary. I know everybody's aware that my operations manager had resigned, so I've kind of been taking on double duty there with some of the things. So it's been a little bit more chaotic than normal down there. So I just ran out of time when we were putting stuff together before the meeting with trying to juggle so many things. So as Shane said, our big project right now going on is the Maple Street water line. That has been going very well. We're very pleased with their progress. I mean, I know it's a little messy down there, but it will be done quicker if we allow them to kind of get done and get it all done, and we'll come back and pave all in one spot. So they did do driveways. They are keeping an eye on the trench and keeping backfilling it. It's almost better. I know Chase could probably attest to that we let it settle for a little bit before we put even the temporary pavement patch on. We'll be coming back maybe even this fall, depending on how that patch looks, to pave the road completely. But for now, we just want to get that temporary patch on, have a good patch through the summer, let it get some settling so that we don't have any problems in the future. And then we can get a good pavement after that. Also, what is going on out to bid is the parking lot for 501 Main Street, which is really good. That bids are due next week on that. I don't have to look at my calendar. So we just put our first addendum, it's going out, and then the bids will be coming in. So we'll be very hopeful that we'll be getting good bid prices with that, and we'll see how it's going. The second bid that has also gone out to bid, Shane just left, he didn't mention it, but the replacement of the media at the water treatment facility, that's at well 1 at near OSV, is out to bid. That was one of our other big projects from last year. So that has gone out to bid. It's in the bidding process. That's a little bit further, a little bit longer time frame, not until the middle of May. So we're moving forward with some of our projects. We will be putting our annual bids out for paving operations. And so that's the next big thing on the list, with ongoing doing interviews, hoping finding somebody for operations manager. I did just conduct some additional interviews for heavy equipment operator, and I believe I have a candidate that will be coming in front of you next board meeting for approval. So that's really mine. I can go over anything in our month of March and April, but in general, we're still just starting to clean up from the winter. I think you'll see most of that. We have been actively out doing catch basin cleanings, trying to get in compliance with our stormwater requirements. Additionally, in May, we did start street sweeping. I know that Robin's probably brought it to your attention. Our older street sweeper had some major catastrophes happen to it in the first couple days that it was out there. So that has kind of delayed our progress, because although we do have a second sweeper, it's a much different type sweeper. I kind of relay it to that we have a vacuum sweeper that will vacuum up all the little fine dust particles, and we have a manual sweeper that's like sweeping your floor with your own broom. So you kind of need both sometimes, and especially on roads when there's big material on there. We really need both. We're making do. We made some retrofits to the old sweeper that we've gotten operational. I just can't I mean, it was out for 2 days and it broke down twice, so we're
You will
hoping.
Yeah, you will see that as the new warrant article from what you saw last week, so literally unfolding as we speak.
Yes, it is important that we keep in compliance with our MS4, and these are critical pieces of equipment for us to be able to do that. I know also what's on the, and a capital purchase is our catch basin truck. We also have, it's also very, getting to the age of its useful life. So those are the items that we use on a daily basis to stay in compliance. And spring time, like right now, and then again in fall, both of those items are needed on a daily basis to be operational, and so that we can meet our permits, because we have a fair number of roads we need to sweep and catch basins that we need to clean.
These pieces of equipment, I believe, range from like 13 to 16 or 17 years old.
Yes.
They've outlived the expectation, and this goes back to a much broader discussion on free cash and how it builds up, but sometimes we kick cans down the road,
And
and why we need a five-year
Yeah.
capital plan.
Yeah, I actually had a question about that. So like a new street sweeper's big money, right? I mean, aren't they like
280,000.
280,000? Would we be better off outsourcing it? Seems like you
so
buy
it's
200
really hard to find outsourcing street sweepers, because yes, there are definitely companies that do it, but if you look, like they're all out there trying to make the money on the big paving companies. I know Boston does, Worcester does, they do have their own, and there's times when we might need our own, because if something happens and a washout happens, you can't always call them back in if you're out of contract, right? It's not easy to find it. I mean, it's not even easy to, like, I was looking into potentially having to rent a street sweeper.
Yeah.
It's like $12,000 a month. It's not,
Yeah.
it's,
not
And we have the labor force to do it. I
And we
think
do
if
have the labor force to
It's
do
not
it.
that we've hired people to cover the sweeping. This is what they do as part of their spring responsibilities. They drive plows in the winter, they drive sweepers. So it's not, unless we were going to reduce the labor force where we would save the money, but realistically, we're not going to reduce the labor force because we're still going to need those people for other seasonal work.
right.
So unless you were going to reduce the labor force, that's where you really save the money in the long term.
I mean, I could definitely look into it. I know that when I looked into it in Southbridge for even just catch basin cleaning, it's really hard to find companies that would even be willing to come out and do it. I do think there is a niche in the market that could potentially be there in the future. I just don't think that there's the companies really, there are companies that do it, but they also are already fully
They're
busy
booked, right, no,
to try to get them to come on at any type of reasonable rate, at any time of reasonable,
For a
it's,
small town on top of it.
yeah.
And the only reason because we're not responsible for 131 and 20, right?
We are not.
We don't touch that, so I'm just thinking we would do the what do you do, once a year?
So technically, we're supposed to do them twice a year by permit.
Yeah.
Once in the spring and once after the leaves fall, which is really difficult because we seem to be not losing leaves later and later into the fall. And then as soon as they fall,
Right.
winter comes and it's cold, and there's also that you can't sweep
time
the
it,
street
right.
when it's freezing because you use water and you're going to cause ice on the roads. You just can't. Either you lose this window of time. So it's difficult in the fall, but you are technically by permit supposed to sweep them twice a year.
And then
I was just
I assume we're also pulling them out, like if you have an accident and road
Correct.
sand gets put down, anytime you have any situation that gets slippery and sand gets put down as an anomaly.
Right, out of normal
Yeah,
procedures.
it's sweet. Okay, no, it was just,
Yep.
No, it's a thought, and like I said, the question is the only place you would really save money, if you look at that 280,000, and it lasts even 10 years, the sweeper's 28,000 a year.
right.
You're going to pay more than that in
You're going to pay
contract.
more than that,
Yeah.
and you've already got the labor force here. So like I said, unless you're going to reduce labor, which we can't because we would need them in other cases.
Right.
So it just, a large city, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, I was just curious,
Yeah, I have looked at it in the past, I haven't looked at it presently right now, but yeah, I just, it's not like I can say, oh yeah, I'd call this guy and they'd come right out and do it.
Yeah, right, no, you gotta have them booked a year in advance, and, yeah, hopefully they show up, but, now, is DPW kind of taking the lead on the parking lot project as far as like?
Yes.
Yes.
Project management? Yeah,
That's DPW's.
good. And is there a timeline on the bid, like when they're supposed to start and finish?
Well, we do, there is a timeline on the bid, and I don't know it off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
that's,
It's,
no,
but it is kind of tight, and I know one of the comments that we did receive is that getting granite curbing is a little challenging right now, and so they're not sure if they're going to be able to meet it in that timeline. So that will be something that we'll have to consider whether we're going, and I talked to Jean because it is an approved site plan. She goes, well, we could always look at it and bring it back to the board as, you know, extenuating circumstances that you couldn't get the materials. So we'll have to see. I told them to leave it as it was in the bid, and then if we get that much pushback from the low bidder that they really can't get it, then we'll have to take a consideration on it. But then, you know, concrete curbing is a lot cheaper than granite, so it would be a cost savings in the potential too. It isn't as durable, so you have that catch-22, so it's like, that's why we want granite, right?
yeah. All right, cool. Does anybody have any,
No, that sounds good.
all right, yeah, no.
Okay.
Thank you, that's it for me.
Thanks, Heather.
Do you need me to stay for the articles?
Oh, we're good.
Okay.
Also, we could probably go to Cambridge and get a street sweeper for quiet.
There's a lot of rentals out in Cambridge.
I need a towel and a pair of bolt cutters.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, town administrators update.
Yeah, very, very briefly, we have, I received from Charlton a request, and Blue Wave, Blue Wave is the solar, Blue Water is the developer, right? Yeah, Blue Water developer, who's doing the Amazon project for Charlton, for me to sign off on allowing them to fix or adjust the stoplights as part of the project along Hobbs, and I think it's New Boston, two of those lights that we have. They just want me to sign that they can do the work here, which I think I actually can, or you all can vote it. But the reason I really wanted to put it on the agenda is I think at this point it is time for me to rattle a cage or two. We have been told repeatedly that DOT is against lights. We've been told repeatedly that Noble Energy has to get a roundabout. That means taking property from the parcels across the street that don't want to give or sell the property. The state won't take the property. They're telling the town that it has to, which means we have to go through town meeting to take the property. There's no guarantees on that. And the whole Noble Energy project is basically not so much the station, but the EV project, which is going to be one of the first of its kind in the country, is at risk. And frankly, I bring this up because yes, obviously we kind of have to decide to have the lights adjusted, but it really waved a red flag to me that we were being told that, no, it's roundabouts, and the light that is going in front of Amazon is a light. The traffic mitigation is going to be a light. And I just had to spew.
Traffic mitigation has, the words traffic mitigation in relation to that project is one of the most absurd things I've ever heard in my life. And the idea that the state isn't going to address that entire corridor, because I don't even know, if you've got that many trucks going, I don't even know how people are taking left turns off that side. It's got to be one-way turns, even off of Fisk Hill or Hall Road. I don't take lefts anymore.
Nope.
You're taking your life in your own hands. And I think and I think that Robin, your instincts are really right on here, but I think it's even a level up on that. It's like, what are they doing with the whole thing? Because they're about to make everybody it's going to be, talk about needing the street sweeper, because the accidents are going to increase.
Yeah, and they're indicating to me that it has to be a roundabout at Noble, because eventually it's all going to be roundabouts, 15 years from now, or 10 to 15 years when they do the project. I said, well, in the short term, why can't we just put the light to do some short-term mitigation, for lack of a better word? And it's no, all this traffic test we do indicates roundabouts, and we're hearing sort of unofficially, the way the traffic tests are designed, it is to yield a roundabout as opposed to a light. And I'm not going to keep that quiet, because I'm sick of we wink, wink, nod, nod, we want roundabouts, so we're just making these studies lean that way. And that's pretty much what's happening. Not that roundabouts aren't right in certain locations, but at this Noble project, when they eventually do the whole corridor, it may or may not need a roundabout. But in the short term, what they're asking Noble to do, he's already committed to $1.5 million. The light would be, I think, about a little over $2 million, which we could get some MassWorks money for. The roundabout's going to be closer to $4 million at least. So they're basically driving the project out. And at this point, I'm probably going to call above DOT's head, because they're going to drive the project right out. I mean, Heather said on this.
And with due respect to them, but Small and Fatman got to do something here. I mean, let's be real, like, I mean, Todd Small is a great guy, I don't know if Batman, but, like, you know, it's a lot of happy blankety blank
Yeah.
up till a point, and then it's like, so when we actually have two huge problems on Route 20,
Yep.
which is you're building something they shouldn't be building in Charlton, but it's 170 people voted in a town meeting, and now we have major traffic problems that are flowing through, and we can't develop a project there, and never mind what we've got going on in Fiskdale. It's like, where the hell are these people?
And we have, no,
We
and
have
I will
governor,
say.
too. I don't
and
wanna just
well,
pick them out either.
So I will say Representative Smola actually got some movement for us and got everybody to the table, because at one point we didn't even have DOT at the table. So he's gotten DOT to the table. But I think at this point, I have not reached out to the governor's office, but my feeling on this is that the governor has pushed such a pro-energy, pro-environmental, pro-climate change agenda, that for us to lose something that is on the educational side of this, and the first of its kind in the country, seems like something if she's aware of, she's probably not aware of it. I'm sure she's not at this point. She has certainly shown an interest so far in central and western Massachusetts from a couple of, an event that I went to that she was at, and a couple of things that have come out. So my feeling at this point is, yeah, I've got to sign this because we've got to get those lights adjusted for the safety of people going in and out of those plazas. But I just felt the board needed to know, because I was irate when I got, poor Andrew from Charlton, he actually dropped the document off because I didn't even respond to the email. I was so angry. I said, this is absolutely ridiculous, because they were indicating to us that even Amazon wasn't going to get the light. And, you know, I'm looking at, God bless Charlton, they're going to, they're going to get the money for, at least from Amazon. We get nothing but the traffic.
Right, we have no.
And we're going to get kicked in the teeth on a project that
I
would
wouldn't
really be
go, I
a
wouldn't go with the
great.
God bless there on that one, Robin.
Well, be careful
They're
what you wish
sticking,
for.
they're
Is that
sticking the
more
entire
what you
region
wish
with
for?
all of the traffic at a
Yeah,
place that
stick
can't
it
hold
us.
it.
Yeah.
And it's going to kill people.
Yes.
And it's like, that's just how these projects operate. They should be running on rail, they shouldn't be running on mid-highways that can't handle more tractor-trailer truck.
Now, I just took Route 20 on Saturday for the first time, and I don't know how long, and I noticed by Oxford, they're redoing it all and widening it, and
That's part of the long-term TIP project.
Yep.
It's been part of the planning in Oxford. It's actually been delayed over a year.
it has, okay.
This is going to be, when they're talking about eventually getting out to 148,
Yeah.
I mean, we will be all retired, and, well, maybe not all you young people over here, but we'll be all close to retired by the time this is all. They're eventually going to go, the whole project eventually goes to 148, I think it is. 131's the next big part of it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you know, they're saying, well, no, you can't have the light at Noble, and because that's not, lights are not sort of part of this big plan. And then I get this thing, this contract, and the first thing I looked at when I got it was, okay, they're adjusting our turn lights. Are they putting a light at the location of Amazon? And yes, it's a light, it's not a roundabout. And so if a roundabout's not good enough there, or a light is good enough there, why is it Noble, which is a much less impact project than Amazon, able to have a light? I mean, I get it, roundabouts are good somewhere, and maybe roundabouts are better there, but that's not what's being required of everybody, and it just seems a little unfair. And at this point, I think, to your point, and this is, I've talked to Jean a little bit about this, it's just time for me to rattle a cage at the governor's office, I think, or the lieutenant governor, who's, I think, been assigned a lot of the smaller town stuff. So, but just to let you know, I'll sign it, we've got to get our lights thing, but I just thought you needed to be updated on this, because I was just so angry, it was just such a kick in the teeth.
Yeah, it is. Do you need any motion from
No,
us? Right,
no,
okay.
I just,
I think we should talk to the chief too about traffic enforcement and how we're gonna address that all up there, because it is gonna, it almost has to alter, right?
Yeah,
the light timing is going to change at 49, is it 49 in New Boston? Yeah, I think 49, and then Hobbs Crossing, Hobbs Road.
No, I get that, I just mean that
Yeah,
there's
oh,
just gonna be so much, there's probably gonna have to be more police there, I
well,
assume.
I still think we should look into a DOT officer for all the trucks.
Yeah,
Because you're gonna have an influx of tractor-trailer trucks on Route 20,
Yep.
and I just think it would be a help to the town.
And never mind that, we're gonna have to look around, in people sidetracking, either smaller trucks or what the impact is going to be on Moshbog, Route
Yes.
15, all of those side roads, because they're gonna get nailed with,
Yep.
when it had high traffic through.
yeah, they're going to cut off and
the
cut
right-
15. We're already
Yeah.
dealing with the Haines Street people we just
Yeah.
met with the other day,
I'm
again.
surprised that there are people here today, because from what I understand over the weekend, people were going down Farquhar Road and causing, like, it was back-to-back wall-to-wall traffic, and it was all over.
And this hasn't been the
community
first
Facebook
weekend that it's happened.
Page.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I don't know if anybody was aware, but today there was a tractor-trailer truck accident on 84, and they were routing traffic from the exit that goes, right on the line and through Holland, up Vinton and down Vinton Road, which is
Yeah.
utterly preposterous if you've driven on Vinton, that they had tractor trailer trucks and buses, and I have a friend that lives out there, she was telling me, I'm like, wait, that's where they were routing people? I'm like,
It's just gonna get worse.
we're just, it's piling on and on.
Going back to the Farquhar thing, so this was a major problem. Were you on the board, Jamie, when this was?
I don't, I don't think so.
All right,
But I could-
Butch was the DPW director, and they contacted Google or Waze,
Yes.
and they shut that road down, and it stopped it. Now, I don't
Somehow it's
know,
gone back on. out
Yeah,
there.
it does still send you, Google sends you to Farquhar.
yeah, so we did curb it, because when those toll booths first went down, traffic was backed up down 84, everybody was getting off too and going Farquhar, and it was a madhouse. They somehow curbed GPS to stop that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a paperwork thing or what, but there's a way to shut that off.
We
And
need to follow up on it, because that, they are saying
Yeah.
it's a GPS, just like GPS, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, takes the trucks up Maple and up that little street. And we had to figure out how to stop that, because we had people backing 18-wheelers out, like guiding the 18-wheelers backwards.
I'm sure Butch
They do
would.
it down Route 15, and they detour them through the public house.
Right,
Yeah.
and they have to have their own guys standing out
And
there.
yeah, saying
yeah.
it's not a
So,
thoroughfare.
yeah, if we could figure out how to contact
There-
Google on that one. There is a way.
There's, yeah,
Through
I'm
DOT,
sure.
actually, I think. I think we have to go through DOT, but we'll figure that out.
I know that we tried to contact Google on
Haynes
the
Street.
Haynes and Mashpug, and I still don't think that's been corrected.
Oh, okay, I thought it was, except for one portion, so we'll have to,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
I'll
we'll
talk.
follow up on all
Also,
that.
if you just, and if, again, traffic, the police department, if they put if I understand how these apps work, is that if you start getting a couple people tagged and that goes into their data source, that
Yep.
informs the route you're gonna go.
Right, and that's.
Right, it reinforces them, like.
Yeah,
people.
so if you're on the part around the bend and someone's coming around 45, which is way too fast in front, near Kerboys or wherever, they're gonna get tagged,
Yeah.
so.
So we'll check with Google, but I just wanted you all to be aware of this whole situation. It just annoyed the, what out of me. I was kind of,
Traffic.
We got an angry Robin tonight.
oh, you got an angry Robin. Oh, I was fuming when I got that one.
Thanks, Heather.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. All right, no further updates, Robin?
No, that's it.
That's it, perfect, that's good enough.
That's enough.
All right, action items, we're down to action item C. Consideration and possible action on an application for taxi cab library license for Elba Santiago for Charles River Service, Inc., DBA Sturbridge Care Service. So,
No one's here. I sent an email to remind them, but no one's here.
Okay.
And I know you guys usually want them.
yeah, did the police chief sign off on
Yes,
it?
he did.
You did?
I thought so. He's-
Oh, there he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the police chief signed off on it, I mean, I personally,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it if the board's
Yeah.
fine with it.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Is it going to be a taxi service in Sturbridge, or Uber, or?
So it's a taxi service, and we see these from time to time. I would say every 6 months, they get a new driver, and they come.
Oh, they come in, okay.
I think it's like for the airport.
You're not gonna see like cabs going around Sturbridge.
I think it's airport service.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
like, and Charles River's done a couple of these, right?
Yeah.
Periodically.
So it's similar to Rubens Transportation out of Southbridge?
Kinda. We think so, yeah. So I will move to approve the application for taxi car livery license for Alba Santiago for Charles River Services Incorporated, DBA, Sturbridge Care Service. Sturbridge Care Service.
Second it?
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
And that's supposed to be car service, which makes more sense. You really set me up for failure there, Michelle.
That's-
We care,
read it
but
too,
just say,
so
oh,
we're in the same-
I got really confused. I was like, wow, what are they?
we care, yeah.
Consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to sign the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Building Official Certification Form for Nelson Burlingame Building Commissioner.
Apparently it's a new form that they have, Lynn said, so it's just,
Okay. So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor? Consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to sign the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Building Official Certification Form for Ronald DeSantis, temporary building commissioner.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Consideration and possible action to ratify the action on the appointment of Ronald DeSantis, building commissioner for the town of Sturbridge from April 24th, 2023 to April 28th, 2023, at an hourly rate of $50 and the use of a town vehicle.
You had approved him a while back to do temporary, but then Nelson was on vacation. I didn't even think to put him in front of you, so we just need to officially ratify that.
Sounds good to me.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Perfect. Consideration and possible action on the appointment of Ronald DeSantis, temporary building commissioner for the town of Sturbridge from May 3rd, 2023 to May 5th, 2023, and May 11th, 2023 to May 19th, 2023, at an hourly rate of $50 and the use of a town vehicle. I'm assuming these are all, Nelson's going to be out all these days. And that's
Yeah,
why
and
we're-
it may not be all the time. It's just in the event we need him.
Okay, perfect. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to appoint Ronald DeSantis, temporary building commissioner for the town of Sturbridge from May 3rd, 2023 to May 5th, 2023, and May 11th, 2023 to May 19th, 2023, at an hourly rate of $50 per hour with the use of a town vehicle.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor? Consideration and possible action on the Lieutenant of Fire Inspection's job description.
So you all had approved this, and Michelle and I remember you approving this. We remember a discussion with this with Jen. But for whatever reason, we cannot find the actual formal vote on this. So we just need to revote the approval of this.
I'll make a
She's been in
motion,
that role
There you go.
and doing a good job, by the way.
make a motion on the Lieutenant of Fire Inspector's job description, to replace an existing.
I would just say an approval of the job description.
Okay.
Yep.
And I make a motion to approve the job description for the Lieutenant of Fire Inspection.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Consideration and possible action to accept a donation from Harbor Freight Tools, 26677 Agora Road, Calabasas, California, in the amount of $300 to the Sturbridge Fire Department.
We move to accept a donation from Harbor Freight Tools in the amount of $300 with gratitude.
We have a motion, a
Second.
second. Any discussion? All in favor? Consideration and possible action on a transient vendor license application for New England Antique Arms Society at the Sturbridge Host Hotel and Conference Center on June 9th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and June 20th, 23, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Make a motion to approve the transient vendor license application for New England Antique Arms Society at the Sturbridge Host Hotel and Conference Center on June 9th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and June 20th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Robin, have they done this before? Is this a repeat show? Do you know?
I think they have. I want to say they did this last year.
Okay,
Just
that's
before I came, but
All right, cool. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to execute the contract for the
Oh, I've been messing up that.
Quamaquas.
Quamaquasit Pond alum treatment with Solitude Lake Management in the amount of $398,432. Was this, are the other towns throwing
Yeah.
in for this too? Okay.
Yeah, this is the one where we all chipped in, the
Chipped in.
state's putting in.
Yep.
I think it was 425 was the, 450 was the limit of what our bid could be.
I think so. It had a cap.
Yeah, so they're all doing it together with Brimfield.
Right,
Everybody's
yeah.
at Brimfield and Brookfield, just Brimfield and Brookfield and us? Maybe East Brookfield?
No, I think East Brookfield.
East Brookfield, I think it's almost the whole region.
Yeah.
Brookfield, Brookfield.
Yeah, maybe Brimfield's not in it, actually. They wouldn't really be touching that, would they?
I think we're hauling the biggest ticket, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the state is.
The state has a big hunk of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot. The state's given us most of it. I think it's right here.
It was in the, yeah, she had it in, Becky had her.
It's 425 is the
Yeah, the
budget
limit was in the
allocated. and-
400s.
Yeah, so it's under bid. Well, I'm comfortable with it, everybody else. I move to authorize the chair to execute the contract for Quasit Pond Alum Treatment with Solitude Lake Management of $398,432.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yeah, it's 300 funded by the DEP and 200 by us, which is us being Sturbridge, East Brookfield, Brookfield, the YMCA, and the QQLA.
Okay.
So the other 200,000 is split. I don't know if it's split evenly. I think we do bear a bigger burden.
Yeah.
But the 300 is the state, the
Yeah.
Commonwealth.
Oh, good. Consideration and possible action on previously approved one-day liquor license applications for Greater Good Imperial and Brimfield Winery for the Town Commons Bonfire, rain date of May 7, 2023, or TBD, weather permitting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Consideration and possible action to open the annual town meeting warrant articles.
Move to open the annual town meeting warrant articles.
Second.
We have motion second. All in favor? All right, the articles are open.
So if we could start with Article 31, which is the Water Department. We have those numbers in the new version of the warrant that you have. The total is $1,561,749,000, $1,561,749. That represents an increase of 8.7% on the water. We did cut where we could and shaved where we could and trimmed back where we could, but we really can't go much below this at this point.
Did we cut it too hard to the bone?
No, I think we'll make the numbers. We're just not going to build reserves, but we'll make the numbers.
Okay.
We'll shoot these singular tonight, or do
What's
you want to do these singular tonight? 'Cause
I think so. I don't think there are many, right? One,
It's 4.
two, yeah.
Or, yeah, we'll do them.
Of 3, actually, and then a discussion, actually 4 or 5, yeah, total.
Yeah, but that's not too many.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we need a plan. It's like all of our capital issue. I mean, we just need a plan.
We need plans.
And the reality is this department has the outsourced department needs even more of a
Mm-hmm.
plan. Because they are getting a disproportionate amount of money. Now, not necessarily because anybody's doing anything wrong. It's just, water is expensive to run, sewer is expensive to run. But we do, I think we need, I think the town department heads need to create a capital plan for their department, and Veolia needs to really create a capital plan for their department,
Yeah.
because that's all, they're making money on our money.
And the challenge has been that we have, the departments have the plans, they've never been compiled.
Sure.
So every department comes forward and says, now I have all these 30-year-old pieces of equipment, the fire department has 15-year-old pieces of equipment, and
Sure.
and Veolia has old pieces of, so, I mean, without that grid, and making a determination of how we're going to spend and how we're going to spread these out through the years, this is what happens. And we have, this big discussion of free cash. There has been just outside, these are water sewer, but when we looked at the free cash number, there was talk about how high it was. If all of the things that we could potentially fund under free cash are funded this year, our free cash is down to about 4 million. So that big number that everybody was talking about is gone effectively. And we have to do that, and we use it while we have it, instead of borrowing and paying interest, but this is what happens. But you don't want to get into this because now we buy all this new equipment. Okay, well, that's great, and we're going to wait 15 years to do it again, and we're going to be in the same exact boat.
Yeah.
So that's where that plan of
Well, that's why I asked even after the 8.7%, like, and again, we shouldn't be going higher randomly or like just making this up, but like, it's like, okay, so where's the line between, I don't know, randomly 10% and that extra 2.3% or 1.3% in pocket now, and if you do that on the aggregate, how much pain are we putting off down the road? Because it's a little bit now is a little better than more later, if that's, it doesn't all quite work that way, though.
no, and hopefully next year, we can, by next budget season, I can have a capital for everything, and a sort of some type of a financial plan for these things and what we're going to need in reserves and whatnot. And the other thing is users are what really, we're a build out in many ways. There are a couple of projects that could come online that would be water customers, but we're there, and costs still go up, and we're not going to be able to increase users by all that much.
No, yeah, so, well, I'll make a motion if you guys are ready. I move to place and support Article 30.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second.
30,
Any
30,
discussion?
31.
No, the water department's 30, sewer's 31.
Yeah.
On the newest, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yes, yeah, yep, yep.
So-
I have Barbara's old notes.
And a little typo next to the. Mary Smith has a video, so I have to give you.
Is that my typo? That's my
I
typo. You
don't
can't
know.
blame Michelle, that was my typo. Those are mine.
Anyways, I think.
Uh-oh, what did I put?
Did we vote?
Yeah, and a motion, we have a second, any discussion? All in favor? Article 31, Sewer Department, to see if the town will vote to raise the appropriate through fixing and collection of just and equitable prices and rates set by the Board of Selectmen acting as the sewer commissioners, a sum of $2,862,128 for the expenses of the sewer department, or take any action relative thereto.
So this comes out to a 3.6% increase. The town the board had last year done a relatively large increase, as Selectwoman Dowling pointed out last week. There was a plan, I guess, that this was going to be over 2 years. It was a large percentage last year. We were able to make this work with 3.6% this year, trying to be reasonable, because many of the ratepayers on sewer are also our water ratepayers. So we didn't want to hit the sewer too hard, knowing that we're going to increase a lot of those people on the water side as well. So 3.6 is what we can make this work with.
No,
Yeah. All the same points I made before, right?
yeah, it's the same boat.
Well, I will move to place and support Article 31.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
So Articles 41 and 42, Selectwoman Dowling had asked me to discuss whether, or to chat a little bit more with Barbara about whether or not we could use free cash for these. I think we all agreed that Route 131 was really not an appropriate use of free cash, as it really is only for sewer users, town buildings mostly. And so it should be funded out of sewer. It's not something that benefits the town-wide. I don't disagree that free cash could be a consideration for the Route 20 line, where we have a lot of businesses that are on it, and yes, they're ratepayers, but they also generate a lot of income for us. I did float this by FinCom unofficially. The Finance Committee has indicated, not as a whole committee, but in discussions, what I have found out is the Finance Committee has not historically ever paid out of free cash for a sewer project. It's up to the board if you want to leave it as is, if you want to do a 50-50, you know, Barbara mentioned that. If you want to do it all free cash. I will tell you, without this, as I said, we are down to about 4 million on the free cash. So it's not that we're still up in the, 10 or 11 million and we have that much extra free cash, to the point of, how much when are we holding too much? But I did get indication from some members of the Finance Committee, and again, not a formal vote, that there's going to be a lot of discussion about the fact that historically it has never been used that way.
Well, what's the best way, in your opinion?
I think sewer projects like this, the income generated up Route 20, yes, the sewer users pay it, but the income generated, it's so critical for the whole town. But the section, so it's a relatively small section. It goes from maybe where OSV starts, where like Sawdust is, up to 131. There are a decent number of businesses. But do those generate enough income town-wide to say that the whole town should pay? Are those mainstays enough? I think it's kind of a judgment call on the litmus test of that. Is that a large enough amount of just general tax revenue, local receipt revenue, to say that if it's shut down, the whole town suffers versus just the users?
Well, Yankees there, right? OSV is part of
OSV
OSV.
is
They're
separate
but the
for that.
hotel is separate too?
The host is in that area.
The host, but I meant the motel, the OSV's motel.
It's right on the line. I'm not sure if that's.
No, I think it would, if
I
that's
think
how it
is.
works.
Yeah,
then it
because
would
Sawdust to this way, yes.
be- Yeah, and so Teddy's new place is gonna be on
Yeah,
it, the
the
Canada's
Friendlies,
place is
yeah.
in the thing.
McDonald's, all.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know this is kind of a silly question, but I guess what's the difference? Because we're paying the free cash and it's both taxable
Well, I
money
guess the difference is that the sewer users pay
for the-
for that reserve fund. So should it be on the users, which are also those businesses, to pay for that, or should it be on the whole town? Should somebody who's not a sewer customer basically be absorbing it as part of the free cash cost?
I mean, I don't, I don't think we want to change this up right at this second, and we are already pressure on our free cash.
I agree.
If we were not using as much free cash as we were, I think Mary's point was how much free cash are we I don't want to speak for her, but how much free cash are we sitting on and what's
it's
what's
just not
a
there.
fair amount? And I think she has a very valid point. If we still had like 8 million sitting there and we say, look, our sewer reserves are tight, we have free cash, it's not a true enterprise fund, the sewer, so we can do this legally. But now that we're down to about 400, this would bring our free cash down to about 3.4. Which actually, I wouldn't say concerns me, but it, again, and I sort of having this discussion that if you're a rating agency, no, we're okay at 3.4 and 4, but what concerns me is the image of it going down.
Right.
You know, they're gonna look at a big drop, and I'm gonna have to explain when they come to do a bond rating check, and we can, that, well, we had this overloaded, but getting well below 3.5 million.
Yeah, we don't want to mess with our bond rating in this interest rate environment.
Yeah, and
So maybe we leave well enough alone. I know our sewer reserves are tight, but we can swing it.
Well, it's one way or the other. There's
Yeah.
pain either way.
Either way, we're paying.
And if we're keeping our bond rating intact going into highest interest rates we're going to have for quite a while, hopefully, that makes sense. So I would move to place Article 41 as written if there's no other conversation on it.
I'll second it.
we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
And then finally, to go back to the free cash
Going
discussion.
to go to 42.
Oh, yep. Yeah, that's the one. Oh, no, sewer.
Yeah, we did
Oh,
41.
41 and 42, yeah.
So
Sorry.
42, I think, probably the same.
But that one we kind of already, I had already sort of spewed my
I will move
opinion.
to place Article 42, place and support Article 42.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Article 47, street sweeper purchase. To see if the town will vote to appropriate from free cash the sum of $280,000 for the purpose of purchasing a street sweeper or take any action relative thereto.
So to the point about free cash, here's another 280,000 coming out. As you heard from Heather, it's a needed piece of equipment. It's old. We're just pushing these things beyond their usefulness. And it would have cost, I think I put the number in there, it would have cost 100,000 to repair it. Oh, Mary, I just texted you that we were finishing it if you wanted us to wait or not, unfortunately.
You're done?
Almost.
Oh, okay.
I did drop her a text about 10 minutes ago to see if she wanted us to wait on the articles.
No, I'm glad that don't ever hold up. Don't ever hold up.
So we're on the street sweeper.
Okay.
And so it would have been about 100,000 to repair an item that we can buy new for 280,000, and Heather explained sort of a,
Yeah, no, it made sense. I will move
I don't
to,
think we have a choice.
no, I really don't think we have a
Yeah.
choice either. Kills me.
I will move to place and support Article 47.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
So then you would reclose.
Yes,
The
I
warrant.
move to close the warrant.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor? The warrant is now closed.
I move to.
And we're going to
this-
open the
yeah.
special, correct?
So moved.
Yes. So we have a motion, second.
Second.
All in favor? The special warrant is now open.
So you'll see the updated numbering, and then the other thing is the $31,868 for the snow deficit.
Yep.
That would be it on that.
That is a good snow deficit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, wow.
And you know, it's surprising because well, I'm trying to think, does this go back to 21? No, it's this past winter's. We had a lot of, surprisingly, material storms where you have to put the sand and salt on. Sometimes snow isn't as bad as some of these
No, it's
ice
the ice
days.
that
we
kills
had.
it.
Right, yeah, the ice is way worse.
So this really was not bad, and we had a lot of them that hit on Sundays.
Yep.
And went 2 days, so, and that includes also the fact that we've increased our overtime, our snow removal overtime comes out of this budget, so when we renegotiated the DPW contract, Mary Lee, just so you, for your understanding, we renegotiated it, we kept the COLAs somewhat reasonable, and in trade, we increased overtime for snow removal only that would come out of the snow removal budget.
Okay.
Basically feeling we were paying people to do that extra difficult work particularly in overtime hours at 2 in the morning, plowing snow is not an easy job.
No.
And so that money is sort of an acknowledgement of that, and it's really earned, clearly so earned, and we felt from a public perspective, that really is an understandable way that someone is earning more money. And that's all. I mean, we did pretty well, so.
I will move to place and support Article 48.
Second?
You have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, and was that the only one in the special, Robin?
I think so.
That's it, just the numbering.
All right, do we have a motion to close the special town warrant?
So moved.
Motion, a second.
Second.
All in favor? The special town meeting is now, warrant is now closed. Old business. Jamie?
None, thank you.
Mary?
No.
Mary Lou?
No.
And I have none. New business. Jamie?
None.
Mary?
Nope.
No?
And I have none.
Oh, I do. Go Celtics.
Yeah, well, it was go
We're not even gonna talk about the Bruins, okay?
The thing is, I go to bed and I'm all like charged.
Me too, yeah.
It's hard to unwind.
Yeah.
And I prematurely celebrated with the Bruins.
Me too.
They were up one, and I'm like, oh, we're good.
Probably in different ways.
Probably.
Just as an update for the board, I know it's during the workday, Senator Fatman is coming at 11 o'clock on May 11th to honor the firefighters who received awards. They're doing a little award ceremony, so just there is an invite to the board. I just want to pass that along. I know it's during the workday, but I'll be going over.
Is that a Thursday?
It's a Thursday at 11 o'clock at the Public Safety Complex, so just so you're all aware.
Thank you. Approval of minutes.
There's no minutes, right?
Do we have any minutes tonight? No minutes tonight. And did anybody have any correspondence? Oh, I skipped that. But any correspondence?
This week.
I didn't see anything.
Didn't see anything.
And I still have to follow up on the marijuana correspondence that I'm trying to track the answer down to that.
Oh, yes, I raised that last.
Yes,
Last
yep,
meeting.
last meeting, yep, and I'm just trying to track that down,
Okay.
yep.
I don't know, was everybody, Mary Lou isn't here. Correspondence about the medical aspect of Heal's business. Apparently, somebody's been going and they're not administering the medical portion of, according to this.
And it's supposed to be,
Resident.
so, yeah.
Still looking to that. That's it.
Citizens Forum,
Come on down.
right, tonight? And do we have a motion to adjourn?
You bet you do.
I figured you would. The motion second, all in favor?
Thank you all.